Hey guys, I was on Facebook the other day and noticed that it's been a year. They sent me a little reminder saying that it's been a year since I posted an update on what the Lord was doing in my family's life. And in that update, asked you guys for prayers and realized as I was thinking about it, I haven't given you an update on what's happened since then. So much has happened this last year. I want to catch you up on it. But as I sat down to a computer, I tried to type some stuff out and it just felt like it was going to be way too long and way too hard to put all of that in any kind of format that you would read. So I thought, well, maybe a video will help make sense of this whole thing and maybe it'll catch you up in a better way. And so I'm going to put this video together, and then I'm going to also have a video in the coming weeks that has an update for Ridgeline Church, which is the church that Connie and I and some others have been planting over the course of this last year. So anyways, the update. So again, last October, we posted on Facebook that we felt like the Lord was opening opportunities for us to plant a church. And so to kind of fill you in on that, let me rewind a little bit further. Last May, I even said this in the update, last May, I stepped away from a church here in town in a ministry that I had been a part of for 5 years. I left vocational ministry. Again, that's something that Connie and I have always known. When we met each other, I was a youth pastor, and I've been a pastor in all of my married life with her. Our kids have only known me as a pastor. And so last May, we stepped away, and it was an incredibly scary season for us to step out away from what we had known and into the unknown. If I could, I just want to share a passage of scripture that really fueled us in that decision and carried us in the uncertainty. And it's found in Exodus. So in Exodus, in chapters 3 and 4, God is having a conversation with Moses. We know the burning bush. We remember that part of the story, but Moses is starting to get a little nervous about what the Lord's asking him to do. Everything he's asking him to do feels huge and daunting and dangerous and uncertain. And so the Lord gives him some signs to carry him in this, to sure him up in his mind and in his heart, give him some courage. And so the first thing he does is he tells him the rod that he has in his hand, he says, put it on the ground, and I'm going to turn it into a snake. And so sure enough, he puts it on the ground, and the staff turns into a snake, and it causes Moses to recoil, which means it's probably a super dangerous snake if a shepherd who's been in the woods for 40 years is jumping backwards. So super dangerous snake on the ground, and God says, okay, I want you to take that snake and grab it, and then I'll turn it into a staff again. And then right after that, he says, okay, that water that you have, I want you to pour it out on the ground, and as you pour it out, I'm going to turn it into blood. And in both of those instances, I think we normally, when the Lord asks us to do crazy and scary things, we often look and say, okay, God, if you'll do that, I'll grab a hold of them and show everybody. But that's not the way the Lord wants us to operate a lot of times. A lot of times he calls us into things that cause us to, or require us to step out in obedience. Faithful obedience into the unknown, and that's when he does his miraculous work. I think a lot of times we look at the cup and say, God, if you would pour this into to blood, I'll pour it out so that everybody gets to see it. Or if you would turn the snake back into a staff, I'll hold it up. But the Lord wants us to grab those things in uncertainty, in the midst of the danger, because what it does is it presses us into him. Where if he doesn't do something in those moments, we look crazy. But when he does something in those moments, he gets all the glory. And I think this last summer was one of those seasons for us where we're just like, Lord, are you sure you want to lead us away from the certainty of a job and that stability and lead us into the unknown? And I just want to testify to the fact that when you do that, when you act in ways that the Lord just leads you into uncertainty and you just go, it is an incredibly scary, but incredibly rewarding and satisfying and worthwhile ride to be on. And so we've seen the Lord carry us. First off, I left my ministry and didn't know what the Lord was going to do. So I was unemployed for a couple of weeks. And then a friend who owns a construction company in town offered me a job, and I worked over the course of the summer in excavation work. And so I dug ditches and played in dirt all summer, but at 38, I'm way too old for that. Knew that wasn't sustainable, and so we started asking the Lord, okay, what's next? And about September of last year into October, I had an opportunity to transition and become a logistics manager for a medical supply company here in town. And so that's what I'm still doing. I've been using my 9 to 5 time to move medical supplies from one facility to another for different surgeries and things around town as they are needed at these different facilities. And so I work with some medical reps, sales reps, as they go to these hospitals and work these cases. I move this stuff so that they can do that. And it's been an incredible gift for me, my family, my ministry. It's been a faithful, it's shown God's faithfulness to constantly meet our financial needs. And so it's been awesome to see how the Lord has used this little job to secure my family in ways that we were really insecure leading up to it. We didn't know what it would mean for our house and for the opportunity to go to the schools that we wanted to go to with the kids in our neighborhood. We didn't know what it was going to do for a lot of the different things in our life, but this job has brought stability to us where we're not living in as much uncertainty. It's also given me the opportunity to do ministry. There's some flexibility with this job where in the afternoons I can go grab coffee with people. I can pop in and say hey to my kids and my wife, and I get to be a part of their daily rhythms in the afternoons as I pop in. It's been really cool to have some flexibility there. I'm home on the weekends and I'm home at night. And so it's been sweet to have that season with them. But it's also been really cool in the ways it's ministered to our church. And so because I have a 9-to-5 that provides the financial stability for my family, I have zero pressure to grow Ridgeline, the church that we're trying to plant. I have no pressure to try to get this thing big enough that my family will be taken care of. So what that means is we just get to spend our lives making disciples and building relationships and growing the body in depth and richness and trusting that the Lord will bring whatever fruit he wants to bring. And so we just get to stay focused on the vine and not the fruit of it. And so the Lord is bringing fruit, but there's no pressure by my family needing things for us to do that. We're just seeing God be faithful and grow this thing apart from my family's financial stability. It's also been really cool because I think me having this job means that I can't be the one who does everything at the church. I think the default in a church planter who's paid to plant the church, the default is that's the guy who's going to do everything. Well, when I'm working a 9-to-5, it means that all of the members of this little body carry their weight, that everybody gets to use their gifts, that everybody gets to exercise the ways the Lord has blessed them and gifted them to minister to the rest of us. And so there's no professional, there's no hero and everybody else gets to watch. There's no person that's elevated as the main guy. We're all kind of carrying this thing together. And so I do the teaching. Jamie Krasnation and I do a lot of the planning and the leading of a lot of things, but we're watching our people use their gifts to help us carry this ministry forward. And so many people are coming forward and using their gifts because of the nature of me having a 9-to-5. The 9-to-5 has also stripped away things in me. You know, I've been a pastor in one capacity or another for all my adult life. And so I started out as a church planting youth pastor when I was in college. By the time I met Connie, I was a full-time youth pastor. I've always had a vocation and a title to accompany the calling. But in this season, the Lord has stripped away the office and the title, and he's just solidified the calling in me. That I am a part of a priesthood of believers, not because it's my vocation, but because we're all called to exercise our gifts. So I do think the Lord has wired me to be a churchman. I think the Lord has called me to be a pastor. But in this season, he's stripping away the titles and allowing me to lead as a lay person, as just another person who has gifts, who has been called to minister to people around them. And I don't lead out of title, and I don't lead out of a position or granted authority. It's really just the Lord's calling on my life. And with this little body of believers, I get to teach because that's what the Lord's called me to do. And I get to lead because that's what the Lord's called me to do. But it's not because I hold an office or a title. And so it's just been really cool and humbling in many ways. not always cool, but it's been a gift to watch the Lord strip some of those things, the facades, the masks that covered up some of the raw ministry that the Lord was asking me to be a part of. He's removing some of those, and it's just been really sweet and beautiful. And so those are some really cool ways that the Lord has blessed us in this season. There's so many other ways that I could share God's faithfulness. But I know you probably don't have all the time in the world to watch an update, but hopefully this little taste of what has been happening over the course of the last year is an encouragement to you. Hopefully it's an encouragement because it'll keep you praying for us. as an encouragement, you'll feel like, okay, these prayers are working. We're going to keep going. And I would ask for those prayers because we got a lot still ahead. We think that the best is yet to come for our family and for this church. I think the best is yet to come for each of my kids, for my wife, for myself, and all the people that the Lord is still yet to call to Ridgeline. We think that others are going to be added to this group in the next days and weeks and months and years. And so he's not done growing this little thing. So please keep praying. But hopefully it's an encouragement to say that what you have already prayed for, the Lord has been faithful over the last year, even up till now, to answer the prayers that you've already given him. So thank you so much for that. I hope that this is not only an encouragement to you, I hope it's a blessing to you, and I hope it reinvigorates your calling to be a pastor where the Lord has you. So it takes, there's such a need for healthy church, not just in Anchorage, but all over. In a world right now that feels really hurt, we all hopefully are exercising our calling to be pastors. And so hopefully this video is an encouragement to you, wherever you are, whatever your vocation is as a friend. I'm just hoping that you're leveraging your gifts for this world that's really hurting and for the church that needs its voice back. And so I'm praying for you as well. If you want to have more conversations about this, please reach out. I'd love to talk. I get super excited about all of this, and I could talk for another 3 hours about all that the Lord has done. So feel free to reach out in the days ahead. I look forward to talking to you. But thanks and God bless.